and they brought us to 30 minutes to the hour of 1 p.m. this Friday, the 4th of December. Best day in the entire year for you and for me, listeners at home. You're tuned into Midday Talk with Lozuko. This day, please go and like and share our page on Facebook. It is Agape FM on Facebook. You can also watch our live video so you can see our guest this afternoon. I promise you, it is a promise from me to you. You are about to be blown away by what she's done and who she is. Let me just give you a background of who she is and what she has done. Her name is Sitha Mpakois, a powerhouse in the making. I believe that. I can attest because of what I've gone through. She is a 19-year-old who was born in Port Elizabeth. She is studying towards a qualification in accounting with hopes of one day becoming a forensic accountant. She is an aspiring philanthropist who advocates for youth development through educating by being part of a campaign called Matric Exit, and is an ambassador for Go with the Flow SA, which focuses on menstrual distributions in her community, as well as educate both men and women on the topics relating to menstruational education. Not only does Sitha flourish in her philanthropy work, she is making waves in the business and entrepreneurial market. Sitha is the Director of Digital Creations SA, Creative Director for KN International Model Academy, and Operations Manager for Petropower SA. On social media, Sitha has worked with various companies such as Aquafresh. I've been wanting to work with Aquafresh and Colgate, but I'm still hoping and praying that it will happen. But here she is. She has done it. She has worked for Ingrams SA, Trendy Co, and Skin Functional, and many more. Sitha promotes and markets their products and services. She has been a model for various brands and showcases in Port Elizabeth. Her biggest show was in Johannesburg when she was a hair model for Soft and Free Hair Expert showcase. In pageantry, Sitha has made her mark by achieving various local and national titles such as Sophisticated Top Model of the Year, Miss JCC First Princess, and Miss Teen Eastern Cape, just to name a few. She is also currently a finalist for Miss Teenager South Africa 2020. And as I was reading earlier on, she is only 19 years old. Can you imagine when you are 25 how your profile will look like? Are you even do you realize the type of work that you've been doing?
At first it seems like it's just something fun that I'm doing, but actually writing it all out, I realized that I've done so much at such a young age, and there's so many more things that I would like to do.
Anyway, welcome to Agape FM. I started with my own things.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. But then, let's take us back to primary school.
Okay.
Do you play with other kids? Are you doing swimming, tennis, soccer? Because it seems like you were that girl with the blazer and it's full of badges. It's like she's first team tennis. She does all those things. Were you like that at school, primary and high school?
I definitely can agree. I was like that. So in primary school, when I was in grade 7, I was a prefect for the tuck shop and also for the younger grades. And then when I got to high school, I was very much a culture junkie. So I did everything that you would think is culture. So I did choir, I did drama, I did debating. And then eventually I also joined the Eastern Cape Youth Choir. And in my matric year, in my grade 11 year, that's when we traveled to Germany and Prague.
Girl.
And then that's where we got the exposure to music in other countries. So we gave them our knowledge and we learned their knowledge. So it was really a great experience.
Isn't there pressure though? Because, when you participate in all these sports, culture, music, there's a pressure of you can't flank in your studies. Because the teachers will be like, hey, you are present for choir practice. You're always there for swimming. But so was that a way of good pressure for you to make sure that I pass, I have good marks because I want to be part of the choir? And also I'm sure your parents are like, if you get an E, my dear, you are not going to Germany. Did that give you sort of a pressure to push you to excel in your studies as well?
Yes, definitely, because it kept me up and going. And with that, it helped me manage my time better. So then I could allocate time for specific things according to their importance and everything. So even during my matric year, for the weekend when I was writing maths lit, I wasn't here in PE. I was in East London for a modeling competition, and it wasn't really stressful because I pre-prepared myself for everything. And fortunately, at the end of my matric year, I got 3 distinctions.
I saw that.
That was a great pat on the back for all the work I've done.
And I'm like, she's only 19. You know, I feel... My God, when I was in high school, they would say, "We're doing this." I'm like, "No, guys, bye." I don't have time for that. Okay, now you excel at school, good in your books. What else did it do for your personality, for your character? Being exposed to different people. Because choir, you are not alone. Drama, you are not alone. All these other things that you are doing, you are never alone. You meet different people that are not necessarily in the same class with you.
Yes.
So you also get an opportunity to pick on other people's brains. How do they eat? What do they? How do they think? How do they interact with people? So personality-wise, what did it do for you participating in all of these other things?
So for my personality, basically, it opened me up to people, how they react, how you should act around people and stuff like that. Not like saying that just because I'm around people I act a certain way, but it just brings the people's skills of how someone can approach a group of people accordingly and all of that.
Yeah, awesome. You know, I was going to ask you a question. I was going to ask you, don't you get the pressure because of these pageants of Miss Eastern Cape to walk a certain way, to talk a certain way? No, you can't laugh like that in public, so things like that. But now I'm changing it because we've seen Miss Universe, she's authentic, she's herself in everything she does. If you go and follow her, she's herself, 100%. And now the reigning Miss South Africa holds true to fire, so and she's also herself, authentic. So I think those things, they help you now. You don't have to pretend to be someone you are not. Can you agree with me on that?
I can agree with you. And it's important for someone to know who they are and not to act like how you want people to perceive you. Because sometimes you get tired to act a certain way. So it's so much better to be your authentic self. And it's great that we have so many role models such as Uzozu and Shurufatso, who are very authentic in themselves. They're not pretending, and it's just refreshing to see that within the pageantry industry we have people like that to look up to.
Awesome. Tell me, at home, when you're at home, what are the privileges of being Miss Eastern Cape and doing all these things? Is it like you don't wash dishes? You don't do home chores?
That is not applicable. I'm still the child of the house. You have to do the dishes, you have to clean your room. There's no luxuries with titles.
It's not like, Mom, I can't do that. Can't you see?
No, not at all.
It's everything that you are a child. You are treated as a child.
Yes.
And also because you are now in university.
Yes.
Nelson Mandela?
Yes.
Doing your first year in accountancy. Why did you apply to study what you are studying?
So at first I wanted to be a pediatrician, but then I couldn't see myself doing science as a subject because it was very hectic even in grade 9. So I definitely didn't want to do that. And then I was inspired by my aunt, who is a tax specialist in the field, and I started to read up more on the field and actually enjoy it. Specifically while I was in grade 9, I really enjoyed the accounting side of EMS, and then that's where my love started for accounting. And then the further I did my research about everything, I saw that accounting has many different avenues that you can go into, in which way I would like to go into the forensic side of things, because I don't see myself really sitting in the office 4 and 8 to 5 p.m. jobs. So I definitely think that the forensic accounting side is really interesting. And also it's nice because in that field, it's where you look at companies that are doing fraud or tax evasion. So there's that element of excitement in it.
You want to capture those who
yes.
are like, hey, you do not pay.
Definitely.
Your
So
dues.
that is where I'm looking at. But if that doesn't work out, definitely I would like to be a chartered accountant. That would be great too.
I like that you are not just focused on just one idea, because we grow up and then we have these ideas. I want to pursue this, and then it doesn't work out, and then our world falls apart, and it's like,
Yes.
I am depressed. But you are focusing on one thing. So, and also there's philanthropy that you are busy with, and also you don't know, as you said, if it doesn't work out. So we don't know which one is going to be our break. So it's important that we try different things. I saw somewhere where you were mentioning 4 people that are your role models, 4 women that are your role models. And you mentioned your mother, you mentioned your aunt, which you spoke about earlier. You mentioned, I forgot her name, but she's in modeling as well. Pageant coach. Yes, and then you mentioned a lady, I think she's your friend or an older sister.
Yes,
also. Can you summarize the 4 of them? Why you picked the 4 of them as your role models?
Alright, so firstly, to start off with my mother, she is very influential in my life, because she always pushes me to do the best in everything that I do. So nothing that I do should be just normal. I should take the extra step in whatever I do.
Yes.
And I can see that with her, because she's not just a normal teacher. She's also setting papers on a national scale for the Matric students. So she's not just staying here
in one place.
Yes. And then my aunt, she inspires me because she is a lady who has great faith in God, because she uses God as a pillar in her life and with everything that she does. So she's always pushing and persevering, even in the tough times. She always looks to God, and I really admire her for that. And then with my pageant coach, she actually saw me when I first went to the modeling school, and she saw something in me, and she came to approach me and said that she would like to train me actually for the competition for top model of the year. And I was so excited, because I always looked up to her, because she has done so much. She's only 21, and she has done so much in terms of pageantry and just all her philanthropy work. And I was really excited to have her to coach me, and it was such a crazy moment, because I actually won that competition that she coached me in. So then we started to work together very closely in all that we're doing. So yes, she is one of my role models. And then Utato,
yes,
she is my role model because she is so focused and she's very purposeful in whatever she does. So I look up to her when I'm doing my university things. I always ask her for advice and guidance, and she's always there to give me her information on how to tackle certain things. So she really inspires me on how she's very focused in her studies and how she is doing so well for herself.
Yeah. Were you ever afraid of entering for these pageants? Were you ever no, I can't. It can't be me. What will I do? What will I say?
Well, when I was younger, I always liked these competitions, but I never entered them, because obviously my mom was saying that rather focus on your studies, and then we will see at a later stage how everything works. And then I entered my school competition, Miss Personality, and then I won that competition. And then after that, I got the contract to go to the modeling school, and that's where my confidence kind of elevated, because I already initially had the confidence, and many people were saying, why aren't you modeling and everything? So I started then, and then that's where my journey started with pageantry and everything. And then
it's fine, continue.
And then I also saw that within pageantry, it's not only the glitz and glam. There's that aspect of someone who does pageantry needs to be someone who is very knowledgeable about the surroundings and whatever she does. So that chapter also kind of drew me to it, because it's not just the glitz and glam, but you also have to be smart.
You have to think.
Yes.
You have to be compassionate. You have to empathize with people, because one of the things you deal with is communities that lack things. So if you don't have a heart, you can't enter for those competitions, because if you win, you must make change in your community. But if you lack heart, you'll be like, I must take pictures, I must post on Instagram. It will be all about people must see me instead of you doing the work. And also I want to know, you entering these competitions and then you winning, what did it challenge you to do outside of the pageants? Because you are winning a pageant, it's like, hey man, I can climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Such things, are there things that you were like, you were afraid of doing them before, but when you won the pageant, you were like, I can tackle this, let me try it?
Not necessarily, because I believe I'm quite adventurous and fearless. So I always tackle something that is like out of my scope, and then I try it, and then if I fail, I fail. So I use that failure as a motivator and a lesson that you can actually persevere in what you do. Like, for example, I did maths until grade 11, and then I thought to myself, I can't do maths in my matric year because it's very hectic, and I don't want to be continuing those sleepless nights of trying to study and everything. And that's when I changed into maths lit. And before I did that, I had to do extensive research of how to actually have maths lit but still do accounting, because that's very foreign. And then that's where I found the information of how you can actually do that and how you can actually get to the level that you want to get to. So with that, I kind of used my failure to motivate me, so then whichever journey or whichever path I take, it's going to work out.
Your peers, don't they feel that you are older than them?
Not necessarily, but some of them are inspired, which is something that I want to do. I don't want people to see me and to be like jealous or to
feel intimidated.
Yes, I want people to use my experience, use my journeys to actually motivate them to start something new.
All these other things like Aquafresh and Soften Free, how do they come to you, or how do you? I've been telling my friends, like, guys, I think I want to go for a toothpaste advert, but it's not happening. How did you?
So basically with Aquafresh, there is a platform called Beauty Bulletin and also Brand Advisor, where they send you packages of certain products. Sometimes they could be test running Avon, they could be test running toothpaste, the Aquafresh. And for example, this current one was for Avon, then there's another one for Oros. But I didn't sign up for that. Okay. So if you use those platforms, you can definitely start actually working with brands and creating your portfolio if you want to eventually be a content influencer and all of that. And then with the modeling for Soft and Free, my pageant coach actually approached me, and she asked me if I'm available for these dates. And at first, I didn't know initially what it was. And then from there, she explained that one of the hairstylists here in PE actually was chosen as a finalist for the main competition in Joburg. So if I'm interested, would I like to come? And then that's when we actually traveled to Joburg and we went to the show, and it was such a great experience because I was exposed to professional models, and just to actually see the atmosphere of how it is when you get to that level of being a model, being a person of that kind of level. Yes. So that was really exciting, and also to kind of learn from the pros of the show.
So in modeling also, it's not just walking on the runway. It's different things.
There are so many different things. Like, for example, some people may not be the height of model, but they have the face of a model. So you can be a commercial model or a catalog model, so in magazines and all of those things. Or you can just work with a brand. So it's not necessarily you have to be a certain height. I feel like those stereotypes and those pressures now are kind of falling away because the modeling industry is just changing and diversifying over the years.
Sure. Sitha, your mom is not in this room with us, but I want you to tell us, you are with your mom and dad.
Yes.
What have you learned from them that they have not taught you in words, but they have done, and you were like, I'm taking that for myself, and I want to do it myself. They never set you down, they never give you a lecture, but you've seen their lives, and you were like, I like that. It's quite a number of things, but if you remember any few.
So basically, the first thing that comes to mind is that the hard work will put you where you want to be. Because my parents are teachers, and teachers don't really get paid like a lot of money, even though they create
Careers.
our doctors and all of that. And then with them being just teachers, they don't just stay in that environment, they push themselves further. Like, for example, my dad, he was a teacher and then he stopped teaching, but he also has student accommodation. So that's another business venture that he is going into. And as I mentioned before, my mother is a teacher, but she's also an examiner, and she's also a translator for corporations if they want to translate things into isiXhosa. So with that being said, I saw that just staying in one avenue isn't going to be the only thing you can do. For example, with myself, I'm studying accounting, but then I have a digital company, which is two different things.
Very different.
Very different, but it kind of gives me that exposure and knowledge in all of the atmospheres, because I get exposed to business, I get exposed to marketing.
At a very young age.
Yes, and I get exposed to accounting, so it's just a big sphere of everything that I can use for my future life or for my future path.
How many businesses do you have? Because you're a marketing director of one, and the other one you are...
No, I only have 2 businesses. So it's one where it's Boss Babe Hair, where I sell hair products, and I also sell like accessories and everything, but that's just very small scale, you know. And then I have my main business, which is digital marketing, where we help small businesses kind of transfer their business from physical to digital. So that's working with websites, that's working with their logo designs and how they manage their social media to ensure that their brand gets exposed to many people.
And also that's the now, that's 2020.
Yes.
Everything is digital.
It's quite funny because that's where I started this whole digital thing. And then also with the hair thing, I ordered hair and then it didn't arrive and it was a whole story and the person was here in PE. So I was like, no, I want to create a business where people can trust it and they can purchase the hair or any of the accessories, and it's accessible to them.
Oh wow, amazing. What's your fear? Because there's a lot of things that you're like, what are you afraid of?
I'm afraid that I won't perform the way I thought I would be at. Like, for example, if I'm doing all of these things and then in a couple of years I suddenly get into a space where I'm not motivated anymore, or I don't have that purposeful vision of anything. So that's one of my greatest fears. So basically a fear of failure.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's okay. That's interesting. Also, sorry for not giving you a number. If you have a question that you'd like to ask her, you can go and see our Facebook live video. You can type your question, they will ask her. If you also have a comment that you'd like to give, you can also do that on that same place, or you can send it on this number 081-0404-191. Send it there and then I'll read your question through. We are chilling with, I want to read Sitha Mpakois, a powerhouse in the making. She is 19 years old and she's doing a lot. She is now a runner for Miss South Africa teen, right?
Yes, Miss Teenager South Africa.
Awesome. Are you seeing yourself as like after teen going? And also, I wanted to find out, was there any competition or thing that you wanted to do and your parents are like, no, thank you, sit down, it's not happening?
Not really. My parents have been very supportive in all of the pageants that I'm doing. So I don't just do a pageant just to do it. Obviously, I bring forward this pageant. We do our extensive research because we don't want to just do a pageant, you get the crown and get the sash, but then there's nothing to push your brand. Because ultimately, I would like to one day enter Miss South Africa. So I need to build on my brand and build on my portfolio to show what I have done. So with all of these pageants, that's where I use my skills or my knowledge. Like for example, with Miss Teenager South Africa, my campaign is the youth development through education, in which what I do is I go to non-Model C schools and then I teach them ways of how they could get into university. For example, I went to a Model C school and the universities came to us. Stellenbosch came to us, UCT came to us, and we were exposed to those opportunities. But when you go to a non-Model C school at Lokshin, they don't really have those opportunities. And it's good to go to them and to motivate them that just because you come from this circumstance does not mean that you can't be
a university student.
You can't be the next CEO of Coca-Cola. Like, your dreams are valid, so you should chase your biggest dreams. There's nothing that limits you. And it's good to give them the resources to show them that if you do this, if you use these platforms, you can go to all these bigger heights. So recently, most of them are writing their matric finals. So I went to just teach them and give them knowledge on specific subjects and just also an overview of how to get into varsity,
how to apply and things like that.
Which methods you can use. Because sometimes someone will say, oh, you didn't get this certain amount of points, so that means you can't do it. But there's never a reason that says you can't do it. It just means you can't do it right now.
Yes.
So don't just limit yourself or fall into that depression because you can't do something.
Yeah, and also schools in our location, if those people come, they come once.
Yes.
And also they give you, they give you a, what's that thing called? Pamphlet or prospector.
Yes.
And then you go and read it for yourself. They just give an overview. But I feel like they need to know the options, because a lot of people are writing their matric. They are doing sciences, some are doing accounting, some are doing arts, but they don't know what they're going to study in university. They don't know that there's a vast modules career choices that they can choose from. So initiatives just like that, they're really important, and they can help. Do you see yourself as a motivational speaker and doing those fancy things?
I definitely can see myself doing things like that. Obviously, I won't be doing it as if like I'm a motivational speaker only. I just, in general, I want my journey or all the things that I'm doing to motivate people. I'm a very supportive person. Like, if you come to me with a business proposal or just in general an idea of something you want to start, I'll definitely give my advice with the knowledge that I have, and then also like support you during that. Because when someone starts a new venture, it's very important to show your support and your encouragement, because that keeps you going in whatever you do. Because sometimes people don't get any support, and that's where they fall into depression, and they think that no, what I'm doing is not worth it and everything.
No one cares about it. No one is seeing my efforts.
Yes, so I definitely think that through all of these things I'm doing, I would like to motivate and just change, even if it's one person's life, in whatever I'm doing.
That's true, and I thank God for the platform that you got, because I believe that there are a lot of teenagers that they've lost hope. They're just like, whatever, after matric I'm going to college, after college I'm going to look for a job, and they don't know that whatever they have in their hands they can use it. And you are selling it. You have two businesses. You are a 19-year-old. There are not to give anyone else pressure, but
Yes.
it's good that you reach out to other young girls, other young boys as well, and tell them that you can be young, you can accomplish as much as a 35-year-old and a
Exactly.
40-year-old. And also there's a competition that you are entering, and how do we vote for you? What do we do?
Okay, so basically there was a link that was shared on the Agape FM Facebook page, so people can click that link and they can vote. Everyone has one vote every day, so until the 20th of December you can vote for me.
Awesome. All you need to do is go to Facebook page Agape FM. There's a link. Go to Siba's interview thingy bio. Bro,
Yes.
we did post it there. You will see it. Go to the link that is attached, and then click to it. You can vote once every day until the 20th of December. It will be good. Keep on. There's a guy called John. Send him an SMS every day to remind us, so that we can tell the listeners every day to continue and keep on voting for you, because we want you to bring it back home and continue to do the good work that you are doing.
Yes.
English sometimes goes outside the window. Sitha, otherwise, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Are you done with studies, or when are you having your break?
So we're having our break on the 18th of December, and then we're continuing also in January.
Next year. How was that? How was the entire COVID set-up and study?
So it really changed everything. Because now everything is mostly online, as if, like, for example, I'm studying at UNISA,
Yes.
right? But it was quite different at first, but it really wasn't challenging because I'm a very digital person, so I'm always on my laptop and everything. But then sometimes it can get a little bit tricky, because with accounting, usually you have like your papers of everything, your financial statements and whatnot. But now everything is online. I have to be continuously scrolling. I have to use like my phone to take a picture of the question.
And then you scroll
and
down.
Then I have to scroll. It's just a lot of admin to do. So the change has been very drastic. And also how the academic year has been extended is a lot for me, because we will only finish
next year.
So it's quite crazy.
Yes.
I know a few others have already finished, which is nice, but hopefully everything goes well.
It will. Sitha, thank you so much for your time. We wish and we pray that you will come back with the crown and the title and also continue doing the work. I really, really hope that you will never stop. If you see a girl child that is in need, they may not be in need of, some people are not in need of money, they are not in need of whatever, they're in need of a word. They need a word from you so that they can keep on moving and keep on running. So continue doing the work, girl.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
We see you. And that was Sitha Mpakois. We also thank your parents, by the way, for raising such a phenomenal young girl that is doing so much for herself and for the community, because there's so much projects that she's involved with. Some of them we didn't mention. There's menstrual education that she's also doing to educate girls about their menstruation and things like that. And she's doing so much. I'm inspired. I feel like there's more that each and every one of us can do in this life, and there's so much that you can do as well as you're listening at home or at work. Maybe you're not 19, maybe you're 35. It's never too late. You can start and you can do something with your life. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Midday Talk with Luzogo on Agape FM, and we are nearer to you this Friday, the 4th of December. Whose birthday is it? Mine. Thank you so much. We'll listen to James Fortune, I Am.